You may have heard of this story before. There were articles written about it by a bunch of different websites, including Kotaku and The New Yorker. A man reaches level 99 in the very first area of Final Fantasy VII by grinding for hundreds of hours. But why? For what purpose? What could drive a man to do such a thing? Well, I actually had the privilege of watching this saga unfold, and the scant few paragraphs these articles contain don't really do it justice, so I'm going to relay to you my first-hand account of what really happened. This story begins on a private GameFAQs spin-off forum. The name's not important, let's just call it Blue Links. I should probably mention that as a mutant offspring of GameFAQs, there's still a lot of leftover Web 1.0 DNA in the site's design, resulting in some irregularities compared to quote-unquote normal forums, like they call threads topics and avatars are aligned to the right side of the post. Just addressing that now so there won't be any confusion later on. It all started on September 18th, 2012. A user going by the name Dicktree posted a thread with the title, "In this topic I get Cloud and Barret to level 99 in the first reactor in Final Fantasy VII." It was a bold claim, and attracted a fair amount of attention. Many users expressed skepticism he'd be able to complete such a Herculean task. You see, in this part of the game the party receives roughly 80 experience points per battle, and the total amount of experience needed for Cloud to reach level 99 is 2,452,783. Even with characters strong enough to kill the enemy in one hit, each battle still takes between 30 to 60 seconds each, so doing some calculations we can estimate that reaching level 99 will take a very fucking long time. Obviously you don't have to give the game your full attention, you can watch TV or listen to a podcast or something to make the grind a bit more bearable, but it does require some degree of attentiveness and input. If you fall asleep during a battle or do something stupid like accidentally target one of your player characters with an attack, you can lose hours of progress. This wasn't the first time people had seen a challenge like this. Several people in the thread were familiar with the level 100 on Destiny Islands challenge in Kingdom Hearts. Indeed, other people have actually completed this very challenge before, including someone on the Final Fantasy VII board on GameFAQs, proving it was possible. It just takes an insane amount of grinding. Many references were made to the infamous grindmaster Elalilio while people tried to figure out exactly how long it would take, but Dicktree was completely confident in his ability to finish the challenge, even offering to bet his account that he'd be able to complete it. He even claimed that he'd done it before. The early days of the thread were quite productive. Dicktree was making rapid progress through the early levels, as to be expected. Updates were frequent, and although some were skeptical or mocked his efforts as pointless, a large portion of the comments were supportive and cheering him on. 2 days after he starts, both characters are at level 30. 4 days after that, they reach level 40. Things start to slow down a bit as he doesn't have quite as much time to grind, but a couple of weeks later he posts that Cloud is at level 46. Then, 2.5 months go by with no word from Dicktree, before he suddenly shows up again claiming he no longer has his PS1, but he will be getting it back in a week. No explanation as to why he doesn't have it, but he does promise that he will return to grinding as soon as he gets it back on the 7th of January. It was around this time the thread took a noticeable turn, with Dicktree becoming more and more antagonistic towards the readers. He threatens to complete the challenge, yet withhold evidence of it, then recants saying he was just joking. On the 9th of January, he says he'll be starting up the grind again later that night or the next day. 2 months go by without any further updates, until suddenly he posts this picture without any words. He eventually posts a screenshot showing he's reached level 50. He laughs at all the impatient nerds who've been following the thread, and boldly proclaims his next update will be a screenshot showing both characters at level 60. After 7 months of silence, we get the message, "No more levels to grind," without any further elaboration. A month after that, he posts, "Maybe I'll start over," and then a picture of a new setup. After a long period of dormancy, some people were starting to show interest in the thread again. 4.5 months later, we get the next actual update. Just a picture of him grinding in the reactor, and soon after that, proof that Cloud was level 52. People were a little skeptical that Dicktree was going to stick around long enough to finish, and Dicktree himself even admits due to his schedule he won't be able to grind at the same rate he was going at before, but he was confident that during the summer he'd have the free time needed to complete the challenge. For the next couple weeks, progress was slow but steady and updates were fairly frequent. On April 17th, 2014, he posted this photograph showing he was up to level 55. He also stuck around to talk to people to discuss his plans. He asked for help to figure out approximately how many hours were left, how much time per week he should dedicate to grinding, and what he plans to do to kill time while grinding. The next day he made the following post. "Told my girlfriend this morning that I can't go to her family's Easter celebration thing out of town. I took that day off of work and I plan on grinding at least 10 hours. 9 months pass by without any posts from Dicktree. People occasionally bump the thread, some keeping it alive on the hope he'll return, others just to curse him for failing to complete his sacred oath. On January 14th, 2015, Allelelia happened to be doing some grinding in FF7 in Junon, and someone decided to post about it as it was semi-relevant news. The next day, Dicktree posts making a glib joke about how he's secretly Allelelia. Needless to say, people were not thrilled. The thread lit up with activity again for a short while, most of it posts telling Dicktree to go fuck himself one way or another. Just 2 days later, one of these posts was by a man who goes by the username Circle Master, a man who was simply too cool to use an avatar, and this fateful post read, "Fuck Dicktree, I should do this. I watched hundreds of episodes of The Simpsons and played hundreds of Super Nintendo ROMs. I could knock this out." And 2 days after that, he posted this image along with the message, "Get fucked, Dicktree." You might be wondering, why is the image so big? You see, that's just one of the many differences between Circle Master and Dicktree. The man is confident enough to provide the image of the maximum resolution possible. I'm talking about the raw data straight from the camera, none of this pussy-ass reducing the image for the convenience of the readers bullshit. If you're going to take that horizontal scroll bar and you're going to like it, if you want to resize the image, you can do it yourself. Anyways, the very next day he posted another picture, showing that he's already reached level 20. The day after that, he's at 25. The next day he's at 30, then 33, then 35, 2 more days and he's at level 38. He was making rapid progress, grinding for hours every single day. By the end of the month, he'd reached level 41. Obviously, he couldn't keep this pace up forever, so things slowed down a little bit, but he's still making regular updates and leveling every few days. By February 5th, he was already at level 43. That's when Dicktree decided to stop by and leave a post. This challenger is interesting. Soon after, he posted this picture of his TV showing off the grind spot in the reactor and proceeds to make several posts asking how he can stream off his PS1. He says that if someone buys him a capture card, he'll finish the challenge. The next day, Circle Master posts another update. He's at level 44. People are suggesting the idea of a Twitch channel, and he seems open to it. He also makes the following remarks. Dicktree should have stayed out of this topic, because he cannot win. Either I get to level 99 first and beat him in his own topic, or I successfully goad him into finishing despite his trolling. For the record, either way, I'm staying the course and reaching level 99. I can't say it was for sure because of this post, but Dicktree wouldn't post again the thread for another 5 months. By the 25th, Circle Master was at level 48. There was a mild panic when he didn't update the thread for about a week and a half. People there were prone to abandonment issues, as you might be able to imagine, but he came back and reassured people he was just busy with real life stuff. By March 11th, the characters were at level 50. Wow, level 50? That means he's like halfway there, right? Wrong. That is not how levels work in JRPGs. Let's look at the amount of experience needed to reach level 55, the highest confirmed level we ever saw from Dicktree. Cloud needs 399,245 experience to reach level 55. As we stated earlier, to reach level 99 you need 2,452,783. So this motherfucker only got 16% of the way there. A common meme people would post in the thread are these stairs used to visualize how much more XP was really needed to finish the challenge. And this is where things started to slow down a little bit, both due to Circle Master becoming increasingly busy with real life, and just the fact that it takes an extremely long amount of time between levels at this point. The next update was on the 27th, where he had reached level 52. This is also where the time counter maxed out, so we don't know exactly how long it's taking in between each level, but you can sort of go off the guild counter for a rough idea. A month later, on April 29th, he's at level 57. During a day off in May, he grinds all the way up to 58. And around this time, he's pretty busy with work stuff, but he does do a good stretch of grinding in June, going from level 61 on the 5th to level 65 on the 13th. He mentions that it's nearly 9 hours of grinding per level at this point. It was in this post where he begins to seriously consider the idea of starting a grinding stream, and soon after he actually does decide to go through with it and begins streaming occasionally at twitch.tv/circlemaster. He also finally decides that he's going to start his own thread, rather than continuing the challenge in Dicktree's old thread. You see, on this message board, threads have a post limit of 5,000, after which they automatically lock. Having a thread you made hit 5,000 posts was considered somewhat desirable. It's something of a status symbol. I mean, you know how forum culture is. So this is basically just a way to stick it to Dicktree and deny him his 5,000 post thread. So everyone moved over to Circle Master's new identically titled thread, and business continued on as usual. By the end of July, he was at level 68, and by mid-September, he was up to 71. He would infrequently try out streaming during this time period. He often only had time to grind once a week or couple of weeks, but when he had a grinding session, he went hard, many hours at a time. In October, he had a grind session that lasted 23 hours straight, and he was able to reach level 73. And then, just a few days later, he did it again, the absolute fucking madman, getting all the way up to level 76. That might seem insane, because, you know, it is, but as he explained, it's hard to see tangible, visible progress without dedicating an extended period of time to grinding. At over 12 hours per level, if he does just an hour a day, that's almost 2 weeks between levels. The grind continues slowly but surely over the following months. He reaches level 79 by November 10th, and he continues to post progress reports in December, January, and March. By June 16th, he's all the way up to level 88. Unfortunately, around this time is when Circle Master begins having some medical issues. His arm was injured, so he was forced to do the grinding one-handed for a prolonged period of time. So while progress was slowed significantly due to this injury, Circle Master always kept the thread informed of what was going on. It was also around this time when Dicktree decided to show up in the thread and had an embarrassing meltdown, where he mocked Circle Master's sick grandmother, pretended he already completed the challenge, and accused people who insulted him of being liberals. He claims that he's already completed the challenge and offers to sell his memory card as proof. Then he claims he already did it and posted evidence to 4chan and Reddit years ago because people in his thread weren't being nice enough. Guys, I don't use the term meltdown lightly. This was a fucking embarrassment. I mean, this was truly a self-humiliation for the ages. Nevertheless, by September 1st, Circle Master had reached level 89, just 10 levels away from his goal. Unfortunately, his arm and shoulder problems persisted, so he continued the grind one-handed while trying to deal with chronic pain and limited mobility, as well as dealing with a bureaucratic nightmare of trying to get on workers' comp. By the end of the month, he was at level 90, and by the end of October, he was at 92. Progress slowed down a bit again, taking until January 3rd, 2017 to reach level 93. By February 6th, he's at level 94 and is still trying to schedule his shoulder surgery. 20 days later and he's up to level 96, and it feels like the end is finally in sight. On March 10th, he posts an update showing he's at level 97, and soon after he finally has his surgery and takes some time off to recover. But by March 31st, he had arrived at level 98, the penultimate level. Needless to say, people in the thread were getting hyped. He began streaming more regularly the closer he got to level 99 as people became more interested in tuning in. Then, on April 7th, 2017, it finally happened. Circle Master started what would be his final grinding session in Final Fantasy VII and started streaming it. Normally only a handful of people would tune in, but this time dozens and dozens of people were watching live. Nearly half a decade after Dicktree's original thread, and the promise was about to be fulfilled before our very eyes. And I was one of those people watching. In fact, Circle Master saw me in chat and was even enough of a lad to give me a shout out.
Yeah, Cybershell has done some good stuff. Just for reference, you should check out his YouTube channel, etc., etc.
After waiting for so long, the blessed moment had finally arrived, and it was more glorious than I could have possibly imagined.
Because this isn't just about me, this is about everybody who followed Dicktree and were let down by him. This last fight is for all of us. I know I wouldn't be here without your support. I truly appreciate every positive message I've gotten. This is for all of us, and if I had to do it all over again, if something were to happen, and I had to do this over again, I would. I would do it in a heartbeat. I would start right... No, I couldn't start right now because of my shoulder. I would start again tomorrow. But here we go. I'm going to hit the circle button. And we're going to get that glorious half a second where it says level up. I want us all to savor that moment. I want us to savor that level up. Because it's the last one. The last one we will ever see. So brace yourselves, I'm gonna hit it. And there it is. And it's gone. In this Twitch, I have gotten Cloud and Barrett to level 99 in the first reactor in Final Fantasy VII.
Just listen to the man's wild, uncontrollable pop-off. All in all, he estimates it took him about 525 hours to complete. And that's pretty much the end of the story. Tons of people stopped by to congratulate him, and his accomplishment even attracted the attention of the internet at large. And to this day, he's still at it, just for the love of the grind, working on getting Zidane to level 99 in the Evil Forest in Final Fantasy IX. He continues to stream occasionally and post LP videos to his YouTube channel. I'll have a link to all his stuff in the description. Funny enough, after all this time, Dicktree's original thread was still active. few bumps a year was enough to prevent it from becoming archived. And in it, someone asked him if he had any thoughts about Circle Master completing the feat he originally set out to do. All he had to say was, "He did a good job, but I did it first." Guys, I don't think I can properly explain to you the degree this man was completely and utterly blown the fuck out in every conceivable way possible. I mean, if you think Dicktree can even post anymore without people going, "Hey, aren't you that guy who couldn't even get Cloud and Bear to level 99 in the first reactor? What a loser." His posting career is in ruins, and I think it's safe to say he will never, ever recover from a public humiliation of this magnitude. It should be mentioned that this topic did eventually archive soon afterwards without ever hitting 5,000 posts, whereas Circle Master was able to get 2 5,000 post threads out of the ordeal. Nowadays, people throw around the word hero to the point where it feels like it's lost all meaning. A man rushes into a burning building to save some dumb kids and suddenly he's a hero? Please stop devaluing this word and save it for only truly heroic acts of courage. I can honestly say without a doubt in my mind that Circle Master has entered the pantheon of American heroes. I've prepared a musical tribute to end this video, but I feel like the best way to close it out is with a quote from Circle Master himself. This is from January 28th, 2015, just 11 days after starting his grind. "Life does not have inherent meaning. To say that our lives are pointless and our achievements meaningless is to state the obvious. No matter how grand our achievements or how broad their scope, time turns all to dust and death destroys all memory. But that does not mean we cannot ascribe our own meaning to what we do. It's because nothing has meaning unto itself that we are free to create meaning, to make metaphor, and in doing so to reflect on ourselves and our world. Leveling to 99 in the first reactor is pointless and meaningless, so why do I do it? I do it to express my hatred, more importantly my disdain, for Dicktree. I do it to express the camaraderie I feel for those of us who have followed this topic for years only to be disappointed by him. I do it to prove to myself that I can persevere. The act is meaningless. I give it meaning."
And they say that a hero can save us. I'm not gonna stand here and wait. I'll hold on to the wings of the eagles. Watch as we all fly away. And they're watching us. They're watching us as we all fly away. They're watching us as we all fly away. They're watching us. They're watching us as we all fly away. Whoa.
You know, I guess one person can make a difference. Enough said.